So in this video, we're going to talk all about friction, and we'll start with a basic discussion of what friction is. So friction, or the friction force, is a force that opposes the relative motion or tendency for motion between two surfaces that are in contact. Now, friction is relevant to both solids and liquids, as we'll talk more about just shortly. But for now, it's important to understand that friction arises fundamentally due to microscopic irregularities between surfaces, and it acts parallel to the surface and opposite to the direction of motion. So we can visualize this with the help of this figure here, where we have some object, a box, which is sliding down a wooden plank. Now the direction of motion, again, is towards the bottom of the plank. So therefore, the friction force must be acting in the opposite direction. Again, parallel to the surface and opposite to the direction of motion. And if we want to calculate the force of friction, we can use the following simple expression. We have the friction is equal to the product of mu, which is the coefficient of friction, times F sub n, which is the normal force. Now mu, the coefficient of friction, is surface dependent. So if we have a rougher surface, we will have a larger coefficient of friction and vice versa. Now the normal force is the force that acts perpendicular to the surface. So again, we can return to our illustration here, where we can see the normal force, again, acting perpendicular to the surface. Now this is the force that essentially opposes the weight of the object. So if we have a larger weight, we're going to have a larger normal force. So as we've already said, friction is relevant to both solids and fluids, where solid friction is what we typically think of when we talk about friction. It occurs between surfaces that are in contact and resists motion. And solid friction depends on the surface roughness. So again, this is encapsulated by mu, the coefficient of friction, and the force that's pressing the surfaces together, which is typically just the weight of the object. So here we have another example of solid friction. This time we have some sort of cube of bricks sliding down a coarse surface. So the direction of motion can be seen here. It's down this ramp. And then, therefore, the friction force is in the opposite direction. So it will slow the motion down this ramp because there is a force opposing that motion. Now, fluid friction is fundamentally the same, but with a few key differences. Fluid friction arises from resistance within a fluid or between a fluid and a solid. And fluid friction is therefore influenced by the fluid's viscosity and the speed of motion through the fluid. So the key takeaway is that solid friction resists sliding, while fluid friction opposes flow or motion through a medium. And we can take a quick look at a case of fluid motion here. Here we have the example of a scuba diver moving through the water. So again, here we have the direction of motion as they go through the water, but as they do so, it will be resisted, that motion will be resisted by the fluid friction. So where the fluid and the object, the solid object, in this case the scuba diver, that interface, that is where the friction will occur. So let's talk more about why we care about friction. And fundamentally, it's because of the impact on energy conversion and wear. So friction converts kinetic energy into heat, leading to energy loss in moving systems. So let's take our ramp example. Again, if we have some object which is sliding down a ramp, and we want it to slide down that ramp as efficiently as possible, if we have this opposing friction force, well, that makes the process much less efficient. A lot of the energy that could otherwise be seeing it move down the ramp more quickly is found in the friction force being lost to the environment. So friction plays a huge role in countless different applications and scenarios. So excessive friction, so too much friction, can reduce mechanical efficiency to require more energy for maintaining motion. So this is a little bit more clear in something like a set of gears, where again, we want to maintain that mechanical efficiency, and we want to use less energy to maintain the motion. But here at that interface, we're going to have friction between the two gears. So a lot of the energy put into the system can be lost by friction, which can be very bad for many applications. Now, in addition to excessive friction, so too much friction, we can also have too much friction in a bit of a different sense. We're talking about prolonged, a different type of excessive friction, where between two surfaces, this can cause wear and lead to degradation of parts over time. So it's not just about making the process less efficient, but it's actually about degrading the components of the process. Now, we highlight this here. Components like gears, as we've already talked about, bearings, tires, and certainly many more, are especially prone to wear from friction. So for example, if we have this car tire as one of 4 tires on a car, as it continues to travel, the friction force will slowly but surely wear the tires down. That's why even if you don't puncture a tire, after enough time the rubber wears thin and you have to get it replaced, because the friction force has degraded the tires to the point where they're no longer usable. So a key element or method of reducing friction is via or with lubrication, which minimizes the direct contact and reduces energy loss and surface damage. So again, lubricants take many different forms, but at the end of the day, their main function is to reduce friction, to have things slide over one another more easily without losing as much energy to heat or degrading the surfaces in the process. So we've already said that friction is essential in many applications and scenarios for both better and for worse. So let's talk about this in a bit more detail and take a look at a few more real-world examples. So we've already talked about how tires can degrade from excessive friction, but they also rely on friction because they use friction with the road to provide grip for accelerating, braking, and turning. So again, friction isn't this always bad source that's looking to reduce energy efficiency and degrade components. It's actually essential for many applications in many different scenarios. So we can also talk about brakes in this context, where brakes in vehicles use friction to convert kinetic energy into heat, which slows down motion. And we can see an example of that here. We have a brake pad, which clamps down here on the wheel and functions again to convert kinetic energy into heat. And for this reason, brake pads also can degrade with time, just like tires. And that's why it's not too uncommon that after several years of driving, you will have to get your brake pads replaced. Now, similarly, we can talk about shoe soles, which also create friction with the ground to prevent slipping and enable walking and running. Imagine if, as somebody walking and running were to push off the ground, without friction, they would simply slip and they wouldn't be able to propel themselves forward. So friction is important even for something as simple as walking. And then lastly, to take a return to fluids, we have air resistance, which is a type of fluid friction. And this slows objects in motion, such as airplanes or falling objects. And again, this can be good and bad. In the context of an airplane, the more efficient that an airplane can fly through air and reduce the effects of air resistance, well then, the more efficient the airplane will be. Okay, so let's summarize some of the key information from this lesson, as always. First of all, the friction force is a force that opposes the relative motion or tendency for motion between two surfaces in contact. And again, this is relevant to both solids and liquids. The equation to calculate friction is the following. We have mu, which is the coefficient of friction, times the normal force, which is the force perpendicular to the surface. Now, as we again said, that solid and fluids both experience friction, where solid friction resists sliding, while fluid friction opposes flow or motion through a medium, like water. And friction converts kinetic energy into heat, leading to energy loss in moving systems. We again can think of a brake pad. And then it's important to note that continuous friction between surfaces can cause wear, leading to degradation of parts over time. So we need friction, but we also must do our best to use friction to our advantage without letting it reduce the efficiency and usability of our machines.